down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh yeah, I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. Oh yeah, three singing birds told me by sunrise he's always there in the morning, praying and blessing the day. I've heard about this little tale long time ago, but never had the faith to believe in my soul. Now Mother Nature sent to me three little birds, singing a song, convincing me it was so. Now I'm on my way. Anyone come to see me this day, tell them I'll be gone for the day. I'll be down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh yeah, I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. Oh yeah.
Nature sent to me three little birds, singing a song, saying it was so.
Ah, yes, indeed. Of course, a pleasant good night to all and sundry. It is, of course, the Sunday night edition of the Corridor Transformation. Your host, LENNOX Smith. We have a bumper program for you as per usual. I will want to ask at this time, it's not normal for me so to do, but I ask to share. I think we have, of course, overcome the critical hurdle that this program, the Corridor Transformation, was subjected to just about 3 months ago. And, of course, it appeared to be not only menacing, not only, of course, threatening the survivability, if you want to call it that, of the program, and the efficaciousness and the ability to deliver to you quality material that, of course, you can, of course, use to what? Yes, to make informed decisions. It is a consequence of that, and I'm satisfied that the tests that we would have done over the months of what I consider to be disturbance, months of anxiety, months of mental stress, especially on this side. I want at this point in time to thank all the staff, all the volunteers, all of the contributors, financial and material. And even to today, I got a commitment, I think, from Canada. I stand corrected. Yes, indeed. For, of course, the corrective, what I consider to be cameras. Yes, the cameras that are required for both internal and outside. Yes, I got a commitment today. So it means, therefore, I may, in short notice, be back in front of the camera as opposed to behind the camera. But that being as it may, and yesterday, of course, was Independence Day, our 62nd anniversary of the birth of Trinidad and Tobago. But of course, nothing to crow about, nothing to be celebratory about, but nonetheless, that is our history. And therefore, we have to take note. But today on the ground report, a special for this Sunday, And of course, coinciding and simultaneously marking the beginning of the campaign as announced by the political leader of the UNC, Kamala Prasad Bisesa, in a sense reading the Ratak that all bars are now loose. All activities must now focus and of course dovetail towards the elimination of the PNM and this criminal group assembled by a criminal himself. Yes, you can't do nothing about it. Nothing you could do about it. Rowley, you had to take that because you are that. And yes, indeed, and we must be able to treat them. But, as I said, it's not usual that I will ask this favor, but I expect, of course, that you will share, that you will, of course, tell your friends, the family, enemies, that the corridor transformation is on every night. Some say 8 days a week, Sunday to Sunday. When they check it, it's really 8 days a week. But of course, we know it is only 7 days in a week. But that being as it may, whatever type of orientation you wanted to give to the program, I want to say that tonight, share. I say tonight, subscribe. Whether you are on YouTube, and on YouTube, of course, you log into what? To the Corridor Transformation. On Facebook, you log into Love Laventil. Don't get tied up. If you go on the Corridor Transformation, you will be pleasantly, I should say you should be detestably surprised that, of course, that page was hacked some time ago. We are getting some difficulty in removing it off the system and off the World Wide Web. But, of course, we cannot be perturbed. We cannot be disturbed. We cannot relent. So, of course, you log into the Love Laventil and you will get, of course, the Corridor Transformation right now on Facebook. And please share. Let's hear some more of that beautiful music. It is Sunday, and you know we have a bit of religious tone, so to speak. Yes, indeed.
Sometimes late at night you still call me before you close your eyes to sleep.
Yes, indeed.
I'll live down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh yeah, I'll live down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day.
Don't forget to share. Yes, indeed. And don't forget, of course, to subscribe. Don't forget to like. All of the benefits and all of the contributions that can be made to make certain that this program reaches every nook and cranny and corner of the earth, and in particular every segment, section, physical or otherwise, of Trinidad and Tobago, since of course we have a country to save. Because Rowley has made a mockery of it, and the latest, of course, is when he put up the emblem now. He's sacrificing the emblem. He has sacrificed the emblem so that people can make a mockery of it. And it demonstrates a continuation of a pattern of behavior that can only be described as suicidal, destructive, incompetent, impotent, confused, and discombobulated. It is enigmatic. Yes, it is sounding like a puzzle, sounding like something out of this world, but that is Rowley for you. We're going to be discussing more about that. Yes, indeed.
The recent PM Rowley political caper through exploiting the national.
Now I'm on my way. Anyone come to see me this day? Tell them I'll be gone for the day.
I'll be down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh, yeah.
Yes, indeed, of course, we're waiting for the good Lord to pass our way. But of course, he helped those who help themselves. That much I know. And that, of course, those of us who subscribe to that philosophy will understand. But of course, I thought I should start off. Yes, you're right. You see two kobo on either side of the emblem. The new emblem, and of course, ball-headed Rowley in the center, rather than the pan. And the two, of course, balisé, what I consider to be stems, shooting or flower, shooting up in the sky on either side of the helmet that has been, of course, an important component of our national emblem. Rowley once again has achieved his destructive tendency. Now look what people are putting up on social media to, of course, the whole world to see. Look at the man is totally blight. The man is cursed. Look at this one. Let's pause on this one here. Look at this. No, the one just before the kobo. Look. Let me just get it there, and then of course we'll pause. I mean, here it is. Two automatic rifles. Rowley with an afro in the middle. And I think two bananas on either side of the shield at the top, replacing, of course, the three ships. I mean, this is what this man has brought Trinidad and Tobago to. Understand that this man is totally cursed. His criminal behavior knows no limit. His lack of analysis in terms of implementation, has collapsed. He is the head of a Ponzi scheme administration. Yes, a lame duck government, in other words, that has lost. Even in the loss, just imagine that. They lost in their own loss. First they lost. Pardon the pun, but I thought it was a pun. They lost in their own loss. First they lost. They are simply no use to Trinidad and Tobago. You know what it is as a proud Trinbagonian to see you open, whether it's Facebook, whether it's TikTok, whether it be YouTube, and seeing a symbol like this only because Rowley said that he want to remove the Nina, the Pinta, and the Santa Maria ships that symbolize, as we learned last night, two things. The ships that Columbus sailed with in order to discover or rediscover the New World, and of course, the spiritual trinity, consequential of which, and because of the dominance of Catholicism in Europe at the time, he named Trinidad and Tobago, La Trinity. Tobago had a different experience in terms of discovery. And in fact, the coconut tree that you see at the top of the emblem. It's the person who configured this one with the two automatic rifles on either side may not have known, but we know that that coconut tree with the steering of a ship was part and parcel of the Tobago Assembly. Tobago, all you students of history should know, had its own administration before Trinidad and Tobago. And before Trinidad, and therefore before Crown Colony government was introduced by the British in their respective, of course, colonies, Guyana and Trinidad and Tobago being the most recent, and a number of other things flowed from that. But the point I am making is that Tobago had its own assembly. In other words, it had its own legislature. Trinidad didn't have one. And for a long time, Tobago ruled itself until, of course, the amalgamation under British colonial rule. It's important that you know that in order to understand those stalwarts and those persons for greater autonomy for Tobago. It is against that kind of background and history that they are making the claim. You see, Rowley and they will not let you know that, because the PNM under Equilibrium, for example, and of course later Rowley as well, but of course also Manning, they were opposed to giving Tobago as much latitude as possible for self-government. You see, because that is a credible form of administering the affairs of both islands. The United States, for example, is considered to be a confederation. Con here, of course, not the con that we know Rowley to be a con man. No, not that. Coming together, but of course, each state having their own legislature and their own administrative responsibility, whilst, of course, the federal government has certain overarching responsibilities. So that is what I suspect Tobago wants at this point in time. PNM resisted because for a very long time the PNM saw Tobago as a ward of Trinidad. And even though, of course, more of the economic activities would have been taking place in Trinidad, there is a valid argument as far as the Tobagonians are concerned that our maritime economic zone could have only be as expansive as it is off the continental shelf, South America, because of the presence and the location of Tobago. And therefore we have more maritime space or spaces as a result of the Tobago presence to explore and gain, of course, minerals and what do we have grown to depend upon, carbons, whether it be in the form of oil or gas. The fact of the matter is that with the presence of Tobago, we're able to get a greater piece of the exclusive economic zone as recognized internationally. So there is an argument. Let's not waste time with that. Of course, if Tobago wants it to go on its own, that is called secession, and that's a different ball game altogether. Different ball game. But of course, from what we know in the current circumstance, it is difficult for Tobago to go on its own without some serious repercussions for its standard of living and quality of life, even though, of course, it says that it is being stymied by Trinidad and the dominance of Trinidad. Of course, the proof of the pudding is always in the eating. And I don't think Tobagoans want to wait to see if secession will bring better opportunities for them or not. I don't think so. And at any rate, of course, with a population of just about 50-something thousand people, and thinking anachronistically, meaning that in the past, when Tobago had its own legislature, it is clear that the speed of transportation, the efficacy of boats and ships and planes, Tobago and the other islands very north would not have had those benefits. And so they had to be, in a sense, find ways and means of managing their affairs, because months would pass and not a ship may come, as the case may be, and therefore they had to survive as a colony. That has pretty much changed, as we now have what is called a global village. Information is readily available. The technology is very, what I consider to be not just available, but it can be had at a moment's notice because of the improvement in shipping and air transportation subsequently. So it will be, in a sense, not a wise decision to talk secession. However, I could see Tobago talking confederation or confederationalism. Yes, I could see that. Give them a little more autonomy to, for example, set up their own police service. Nothing wrong with that. The administration of lands and the management thereof, you give them that as part of the confederation or confederative arrangement, and we can go on and on. But let's get back to the essential topic, as this particular video suggests. Everything Rowley touches turns to the biblical pillar of salt. Look what he has, people, projecting, taking time to, and effort and energy and probably money as well, to construct and to put out there for the world to see. Look at that. 2 machine guns. 2 bananas. And Rowley with an afro in the middle. I mean, it is pathetic as it is laughable and ludicrous. But Rowley looked for that. He has always demonstrated that uncanny ability to not only engage and project initiatives to cause chaos and confusion, but always with a sinister motive for political acceptance by the gullible who believe that he is making sense. I'm going to come to a point now. Of course, the lines are open, people, so you can, of course, make your comments and make your calls. The number to call, of course, are 337-6940. 337-6940. And don't forget, of course, our back to school program. It is still on, and you can call 336-6594. 336-6594. And I want to thank, of course, the Mohammed. I spoke with him today the Sawa Brother bookstore business. And I want to thank him once again for considering the several book lists that he would have asked us, in fact, to WhatsApp to him. And today, of course, his WhatsApp wasn't working, and he asked me to WhatsApp it to his son, who was literally taking over the business, so to speak, as from my observation. And so, of course, those book lists will be satisfied at least by tomorrow, yes, Monday, as we, of course, try our best to get these young people in school. After all, we'll be doing a disservice. And if we leave these young people to their own whim and fancy, the devil always have a place and always room for idle hands. And if parents are unable to provide the wherewithal, there is a deeper, troubling scenario where not just recidivism, but generation of criminals will become the order of the day for Trinidad and Tobago if we do not put a handle on this thing. And here comes my position with respect, of course, to this government. But let's go to the lines before, of course, I give you the essence of tonight's program. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night to you, Leonard Smith.
Pleasant good night to you as well, my friend. You like the fat head? You like the afro? You like the afro?
Yeah, I seen it, man. But you're missing a piece. You're missing a key element in that thing there.
Tell me.
Either Balize house or Balize plant.
It have a next one. It have a next one with that. One with the two kobo. The two kobo. Okay. I'll show it in a while. It's a whole video, but I pause on this one to show the violence and of course to give the example as to where Tobago was at one point in time during the colonial times. But go ahead, my friend.
Well, I want to find out. I want to know if Peter's still waiting by the gate.
Peter's still waiting by the gate. I would expect that
because
to
apparently.
Go ahead.
Yeah, because apparently the PNM want to take away with freedom of speech. Because what it is they're doing KFC, they already say fire burn this wicked, evil, diabolical, desperate, satanic government called the PNM. Fire burn all of them. You see when people and them doing KFC Lennox? But I hear you getting some assistance to deal with them, you know. With lawyers and stuff. Because you call Wall Street today and give a learn something. What going on right now?
Tell me, because I am not familiar with the incident in detail. So tell me, share it with the rest of the callers.
I don't know. I feel you listening. So if there's anything, he might call you.
All right. Okay.
KFC, if you're listening, call in and let Lennox Smith know what's going on with your matter. Because I feel you listening, because the best story to tell is you have to tell our story.
All right. Good. Great.
So KFC, call in if you're listening to the program tonight and let Lennox know what's going on with you. But Lennox, rolling them off the rockers big time. Because if he get away to change the 3 ships, where is the sense celebrating independence? Because independence tying with those 3 ships. Those 3 ships is what are we here in this country. So Rowley trying to erase history or rewrite history. He watching too much of blasted old Mexican movies.
or Venezuelans. Maduro style. Yes. He believe he could be a dictator in Trinidad. By Godface you wouldn't see, and Pink Donkey as well. Go ahead.
If there's anything I will call back, because it has something I was reading in the Bible earlier on today. I will call back and I will read it also the population. Go understand why it is we be in this position. We will continue to be in this position, but I will call back a little later.
Yes, indeed. No problem, my friend. You're welcome at any time. Of course, once we are on air, if we are not on air, of course, that would be an impossibility. But let me just, as he mentioned, about something is missing, let me tell him that this is another version of it. Let me just pause here. Let me just pause on this one as well, because I want him to. I want Rowley to understand what he has done to the people and the psyche and the level of hatred that they have for him. That of course they will generate a new emblem. 2 kobo. Imagine that. 2 vultures. 2 rotten flesh eating birds. Yeah, rotten flesh eating birds. For them to feel good, these birds, the flesh or the animal or the fish has to be rotting. And that is a delicacy for them. And they put Rowley smack in the middle. Let's go to the lines. I want to be as graphic as possible tonight, because we have to make this albatross, this nincompoop, this asinine specimen of inhumanity understand that nonsense that he is projecting to try to save his whatever modicum of political currency that he or the PNM has. Waste of time. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox, and pleasant good night to the right-thinking citizens of Trinidad and Tobago.
Yes, indeed.
Mr. Lennox, I have 2 things I want to say quickly. Now, I just jump in. Normally, I just listen, and then, in order to reply, listening based on what you start your program on.
Yes.
I didn't get that opportunity, right?
Right.
Because I was doing something.
No problem, man. No problem. You can come in
right.
any
Mr.
space
Lennox,
and any day. Yeah.
The Minister of Health told us we are not. We was number 1 in the world due to the COVID-19.
Yes.
And we had the best healthcare system in the world.
Yes, delusionary as he was, yes, and still is.
Why the Prime Minister, every time he feel a pain, you have to leave the number 1 health in the health sector in the world to go to less to see about himself. Make sense?
Does not make sense at all. Does not make sense at all. And may I add that what was in the air among the population was that he would have been absent for independence. But there he was, of course, knocking glass and so on. So one got the impression that the medical matter that he was supposed to attend and miss, I should say, the independence celebration was urgent. But it turns out it appears not to be so. Or is it another piece of Dr. Rowley's continued, what I consider to be showmanship, deception? But you go ahead. I just thought I should interject that.
Thank you. I accept it with open arms and an open mind. Mr. Lennox, I was now having a short discussion with somebody, right?
Yeah.
This comes to my mind because I live it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if all these people that ball are voting PNM because my mother was at PNM and my father was at PNM and my great-great-grandmother was at PNM. So PNM don't have to do good for me. I just want to be a PNM because my parents and them say vote PNM, right?
Yeah.
Well, I want to make it clear to the people of the PNM, the ones and them who that ball the PNM become a damn PNM. Well, I come from a PNM home also because the home I came from had a single parent, which was my mom's, right?
Yes.
And the PNM home I came from was a lot of suffering. And the suffering come from based on the society, based on Eric Williams and everybody we had oil boom, but they didn't see it fit to trickle down the dollar to the average citizen, or I should say the PNM supporters. The PNM supporters, the grassroots and them who doesn't be on the ground. Those homes have nothing in it, you know. It doesn't even have somebody sometime, most of the time, to try to help you educate yourself. And I speaking from reality.
Yes.
Because I came from a PNM home.
Yeah.
So I want them to continue balling, but this one is and I come from a PNM house.
Yes.
95% of the PNM house have nothing in it. And they would feel like talking about TV and are talking about Swedish and talking nothing, and they have nothing in it. It has nothing to offer the generation coming after them who born in the PNM.
Yes.
Since PNM in existence. You know what else tell you?
Yes.
PNM educate them, but you're pushing a trolley in a ghost tree. With 31 pass. Because the same damn PNM didn't put nothing in place after you get your passes till you have a good job.
Yeah.
Because all the PNM, the big guns on them, they only see their interests only. So I'm saying this to the people and them who talking about the PNM and the PNM house. Most of them doesn't have nothing. Most of the school drive that they have right now is PNM children. Sorry to say it this way, it's the PNM children at the gate. Less fortunate is PNM people are less fortunate.
Yeah.
Most of the public assistance, most of it, PNM people, most of it, it's them depending on that. So as the Prime Minister ball, I put in 200 more on the welfare grant, or how that's get, or however it's called it, public assistant. Oh God, they're going to vote for that. And that's why they are like that. They put them in a chance where we will always give only the rotten fish. Because we don't want all to ever learn how to fish. Because if they all the PNM people learn how to fish, all they wouldn't have no use for the PNM again. So we have to keep all giving all grant and hamper. And all will die for them things that we would be giving all you. And this is why PNM standing strong. And if they give somebody an agency home, where I had to pay for 31 years, here we go and tell me that. But if PNM give me my house, nonsense. The government see it fit to give you an agency home because you fit the criteria in order to pay for your house.
Wow.
When they get your house,
Well said, my friend. Well said.
You are entitled to that. Because you fit the criteria they was looking for, you have the job, and you can pay for that. No PNM give my house. So this one has to vote PNM, and that one, and this is the mindset of the PNM people. When you listen to them talk, you'll understand that sometimes you have to feel sorry for some of them because they ain't no better. Sometimes that's all they know, because when you're hearing the same thing over and over for years, it could do some damage to you, you know.
Oh, yes. I think Goebbels was his name, the propaganda minister for Hitler. I mean, he did a number on the people of Germany, people who were very, very bright, very intelligent, but turned them into heartless zombies. I mean, you just have to look at the Holocaust and understand how such intelligent people could be converted. Well, Rowley and the PNM have attempted that, but they didn't cater for people like you and I to make interventions to neutralize that dotishness and that fiction that they have perpetrated on the people in order to stay in government, dominate them, and of course brutalize them and project onto them pain, ache, and agony. Go ahead.
And look at this. Eric Williams said so many years ago that he, now I ain't for correction, he can put a crapo in Lavanti.
With a balizitai.
You know now they're voting for Toad, which is failed Gerald Swine. I said failed Gerald Swine.
Yes,
they're voting for Toad and they're still voting for it. He just win by 10,000.
Just imagine.
What's Lavanti?
Just imagine.
And they talk about a man call and say, but you see people building concrete house and driving car. We driving car when we paying 8 years for. The dealer making 300% on the one vehicle because we had to pay for it for about 8 years. But we doing well.
Yeah.
You have a big, if I am minister and I had to do a book drive in my community, I go feel ashamed, because it shows plainly I am not doing too well. Because why I have to get
Or your
into a
government,
book,
or the government itself. I
is
mean,
not doing too well.
yeah, has
Because
collapsed. Yeah.
I'm not supposed to be providing books. The jobs I creating, the parents could afford to purchase the books for the children and them.
Yes.
But you could know everything in a handout and give them this. And I want to throw a little cacado like that on the program, doggy look a bone. Right now it's coming back around. Doggy look a bone. They want to give them bone.
Yeah.
And as they get the bone, like they'll get stupid. Because look all now they complaining, right? Let the election bell ring. All them with Josie and Mullen. Sweeping time. Some of them washing wares outside the place, even my inside sink.
Yeah, so what people trying to get in, so we have to wrap up. I know I got the gist. I'm sure the population and the world have the gist. Any closing remarks?
The only closing remarks I want to say, I hope they take heed. And it's either they want, this is my closing remark, it's either they want to want change, or they want to allow the worst to continue. Mr. Lennox, have a good night.
Same to you, of course. Let me just take the other call one time. Let me see. All right. I think I have it now. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. I look as though that's the wrong number. All right. Sorry about that, caller. You'll have to call back. Caller, call back. Sorry about that. Quite a lot by that caller. Unusually very sober. I didn't notice, people, that on that emblem that is being suggested for Rowley to change and put his face on it, I see on both sides of his ears, on one side is M and the other side is C. I wonder what that means. I wonder what that M stand for or what that C stand for. On either side of him. Watch it carefully. So you have two Kobo on either side of him, and then you have, of course, two Balize flower. Then you have Rowley's face, bald-headed on this occasion. The other one previous, he had an afro. And then you have an M and a C as well. I mean, I don't think there is much imagination left here, because it has to be your mother, continuous. Yeah. I'll end here. I'm not on Prince Street, so I'll have to contain or restrain myself. But certainly, these are not nice words to describe this fella. And these are nice words in themselves, but of course appropriate words to describe him. I can assure you of that. So there we have it, people. But the point I want to make as well, and thanks to the last caller for bringing that out, the brainwashing and the tradition and the generational curse that people have wanting to vote for the PNM because previous generations voted. That is obsolete. That is Neanderthal talk and attitude. That is people who are stuck in what is called a paradigm paralysis. What is required now is a paradigm shift. And because it is readily available, that option, that shift, you should embrace it. I'm talking about Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC, having regard to their performance between 2010 and 2015. Let's not waste time. There's only one choice there is in the next elections. Pleasant good night. Welcome.
Yeah, LENNOX Smith. Pleasant good night again. You hear me loud and clear?
Loud and clear, my friend.
Right. So I was listening to Wall Street program earlier on today, right, where a lot of people was calling in and talking about the PNM and the UNC, and they're talking about the Constitution and how they put laws to ill-treat the poor man.
Yes.
And not the politician.
Yes.
So here what Proverb 28 from verse 3 say, right? It say, a poor man that oppress the poor is like a sweeping rain which leaveth no food. Right? And 4 say, they that forsake the law praise the wicked, but such as keep the law contend with them. And then 5 saying, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand good things. So I telling people, always see happening. When you go in the Bible, you can see scriptures showing you everything that is happening on the face of the earth
Direct us
today is a
again. Direct us
recurrence.
again to that part of the Bible. Direct us again.
Right?
What it is?
It's Proverb 28, verse 5, from 5 to from 3 to 5.
Okay.
Yeah. You understand? So when I listen to some of them PNM supporters and them saying, God is good, but the PNM is great. Them don't understand what the word of God telling them, you know. Them far from the truth where that is concerned, you know. You can't put the PNM above God. God is all supreme. But apparently Rowley is all supreme. Just what try to do Iowa George. They victimize Iowa George and nobody ain't say nothing about it. Because them believe they want to control everything. Locked on and listening.
Yes, indeed. Of course, while he was speaking, people, I googled it, and yes, I think it's very appropriate. A poor man who oppresses the poor is like a driving rain which leaves no food. I think that speaks volumes, because Rowley and they, really and truly, all of them were hustlers. Rowley was a lowly paid lecturer at some university. But suddenly, they were given the mantle and the responsibility through, of course, attaching themselves, clearly we know now, opportunistically, not to serve, not to deliver, not to improve, and not to ameliorate our circumstance, but to line their respective pockets and become rich overnight. Yes. And rub shoulders and bounce glass with the well-to-do in the society, many of whom would have done their duty and their part to be where they are. But Rowley and they want to get there artificially through, of course, a process called, and of course projected, and we accept the Westminster system of government. Yeah. Otherwise, nobody will have know about Hines, Rowley. Nobody, Robinson Regis, Penelope Beckles. Yes, the Minister of Finance, Imsbert. Nobody would have known about Scotland. A pile of hustlers in the main who see political office as an opportunity to live voluptuously, to impose draconian measures on the people, to be as harsh as they wish to be, to eliminate and crush those who would oppose them. Yeah. Clearly, you cannot have so much, and to whom much is given, much is expected. And you got so much, 12 billion in reserves and all that money in the heritage. And you have left us with, you have left us bare. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
A pleasant good night to you, Mr. Lennox.
A pleasant good night to you as well.
On the World Wide Web.
Yes.
And the live stream, and to all the callers.
Yes.
So, on the last word you said there, that he leave us dry. Now, the bell have been rung under the United National Congress to mobilize.
Yes.
And to start checking the vehicle, make sure our tires, all our mechanical parts, and the seating accommodation and comfort to moving forward for a better life. Because, Mr. Lennox, at this hour, I would like to ask all those who are listening to this program to make a decision in life, because as the last caller said, it is written in the Bible as a reminder to all, and who visit it and interpret it will understand it. Now, Moses was privileged to have everything, a whole kingdom, and billions of dollars in gold, wealth, and anything he wanted. But when Moses get to know the true story from where he came from, he chose to go there and to be with his people, and the same people that his father had suffered and put in bondage for him, to make him wealthy. So you're seeing where this PNM political leader by Keith Rowley, in his last 5 years again, when the EBC gave up the election, what he used it to do. So when we see it, we understand it, and the pain and suffering. Mr. Lennox,
Yes.
it hurt me tonight to know, right,
Yes.
that the senior citizens and them, 3,000, maybe 3,005 senior citizen grant, and then they're telling them if they get any little other thing to make up, they're taking it away. Mr. Lennox, I didn't went to school and count good enough. But if 31 days in a month, and these senior citizens, whatever way they contribute to building this nation, when they had to buy food for 3 square meals, pay light bill, and they say light bill is every 2 months, whatever it is every quarter. But medicine, when they check the price of medicine, so what they eating and what they're living with, what is the standard of living? Now we're making them the working poor. You have the poor and the retiree poor. So everything. And now our political leader, Ms. Kamla Prasad Desesa. So I want them to understand, while the brothers and sisters who understand what the UNC have to offer all you, it have a manifesto now, a first print, for them to see, understand what will be delivered to us, and not old talk and mamagism to hoodwink all you. But I would like those recipients at the school grant to call in and say how much. We'll do a postmortem on it. Have a pleasant night, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, indeed. And that's a wonderful suggestion that callers can, of course, you who have experienced what many would have experienced. First of all, whether or not you qualify. Yes, you have to qualify. There's a pre-qualification criteria that is used. And then, of course, the whole charade literally manifesting a meltdown of incompetence, because I had the unfortunate experience of one mother who went to collect this grant, having been qualified through what they call a means test. I could imagine how humiliating that would have been to get $1,000. But they put the check on the child's name. You know what I say? They put the check on the child's name. So if that parent, and I'm talking about that's what last week. So imagine if that would depend on that check to purchase some of the books, or 1 or 2 of the books. You would appreciate that the process to revalidate that check and to get one that is corrected. You could imagine the process and therefore the length of time. So yes, and the last call is correct. Rowley has said that the government annually invests something in the vicinity of about $4 to $8 billion, well, $4 to $8 billion on social development, on social activities, on welfare. And he is given the notion that that is a privilege, it is not an entitlement. And of course, the minister regurgitating that like parrots, every evil thing Rowley says, they can't think for themselves. They then, of course, regurgitate as if they are parrots or some kind of robot. But the fact of the matter is, Rowley, we know the welfare state principle that all democracies adopt. And wherever you go, you will see, of course, a ministry, if it's not called social development, some other name, but of course to treat with what? The less fortunate. And that includes, of course, those who genetically or who were born with birth defects that makes them unable to contribute as the normal person will be able so to do. They are called, of course, the differently abled, and in other instances you have, of course, specific ailments such as cerebral palsy, which literally makes the individual, the person, a vegetable. And therefore the state has that responsibility. Rowley has the audacity, the temerity, the gall, and the effrontery to tell these people that that is a privilege, and therefore you, or put another way, he don't have to do that. That is the corollary, that is the conclusion one has to draw when a prime minister in a scenario where you have the downtrodden, the less fortunate, those who can't help themselves. And you're talking that level of hogwash and diatribe. Total disrespect for the human person. And the principle in a society that says those who are least able to contribute, the able-bodied ones must be able to produce so much that they will be able, of course, to treat with their fellow men and women who may have found themselves in such a situation where they are totally unable to contribute. But he is saying that that is a privilege. You see, it has certain connotations because no government before, including, of course, Kamala Persad-Bissessar and the UNC, ever looked at social welfare and delivery in that context. They've always looked at it as a people who may, for one reason or another, fall under the poverty line, if you want to call it that, due to some addiction or some physical malady or some psychological or mental deterioration. Yeah. But Rowley identified these people and target these people humiliating them and saying that, of course, you are in effect, and I could go where the hell I want because you had no right to talk that stupidness, that shit, Rowley. You're trying to tell them that they are no use and they ought not to have been. Yes, I will go that far. That is how injured. Because why the hell you would mention that you spend $4 billion to $8 billion on these facilities? And it is not the first time. We saw it, of course, during the course of the COVID crisis, when, of course, Rowley, in an attempt, of course, to justify the expenditure of $22 billion, is yet, of course, both he and Imbert are yet to, of course, satisfy the population as to how that money was spent. He put in it what traditionally would have been recurring expenditure every year since we developed a Ministry of Social Development and accept the principle of the welfare state that there are those among us who are unable to provide for themselves, and therefore the state has that duty and responsibility. He was strident and included that regular budgetary allocation, plus of course the addition. He had those hampers and those facilitations for persons who would have lost their jobs or who would have lost their businesses. And God knows, when compared to the numbers that would have been in need of such a support, you haven't shut down the country. Comparatively speaking, it's as if he did nothing, but the money gone. But the money gone. Understand that? So if it is that every year the Ministry of Social Development would be consuming $4 billion, Rowley in the time of COVID, and of course attempting to justify $22 billion, the man include that $4 billion, and then add the small amount of money that was expended on hampers and groceries and greeneries and of course vegetables, etc. One big hunger dashing in a bag and cut pumpkin. Yeah. Perishable items for that long period. Oh, he helping out the farmers and them. He helping out the farmers and them. And up to now, they cannot account for that money. And as the caller rightly said, they have failed with respect, of course, and was inconsistent or incongruent with their claim that they were number one in the world. Is only an ass would have made that claim, knowing full well that everything they touch turns to a pillar of salt biblically, or turns into total and absolute destruction or collapse. And sure as it did, and certain as night give way to day, and vice versa, and as constant as the northern star, the overall consensus is that they failed with respect to their response to COVID. But of course, they alone in their illusion and their delusion, and attempting, of course, to hoodwink and deceive, and of course, engaging in this circumlocutive talk that is self-serving. And the people, 5,000 of them died. 5,000. In spite of the 22 billion and the deployment of a so-called parallel system that saw people dying on the grounds of the hospitals, whether it be Port of Spain and or Mount Hope, as the case may be, from going there not infected, but having contracted the virus there in such a pool of persons who just want to know what the status is, but you don't have the medical staff. You don't have the clinicians to work. And you're giving us a set of hogwash out there, telling us that you did well. And I'm sure when the new government comes into office, coming up aside Mr. Sunday, we will find out how much will we pay to bring, of course, the head of the WHO to come and talk, to come and praise he. Do not put that beyond them, people. Remember when Rowley told us that he was in his bathrobe, and of course now exiting his bathroom, he got a call, and the person on the other end was, of course, who? Donald Trump. Suggesting that he had no part to play. Later we learned what? That a lobbyist in the United States handsomely paid out of the coffers and by the taxpayers of Trinidad and Tobago, was paid to have that done. Yes, don't be surprised. Don't be surprised either to try to make Banlara Stadium look like a premier stadium in spite of the reviews of objective users of the facility saying that it is no damn good, so much so they had to put an additional $80 million to make it really ready.
Look like a premier
Do not be surprised if you hear that millions of dollars were paid to, of course, the organizers of those, the World Cup, and of course the West Indies own 50 over and 2020 program. Don't be surprised to hear the kind of money that this government would have paid them in order to have these games played at the Banlara Stadium, because Rowley and they want to hoodwink the population to make them believe that what they created is better than the Queen's Park Oval. Oh, what a laugh. Oh, what a ludicrous. Oh, what a inane and asinine thought. The thought alone. Let's go to Elijah. Plus a good night. Welcome.
Right, Lennox, how you going, boy?
Well, I'm good as could be in the circumstance. Was it you who they were talking about in terms of this victimization by the authorities? Was it you?
That was KFC.
Oh, you came
KFC.
to mind. You came to mind. I couldn't put a face to the name, and therefore I thought it was you. All right, go ahead. I'm glad it wasn't you then. Yeah.
You know the fella named KFC, right? He's called himself that.
All right. Well, I know, but I can't put a face to it. So, but I thought it was you because I know that you were in a situation as well.
He called here a couple of times, Lennox. He called here a couple of times.
Okay. All right. Good. Go ahead.
It seemed to me that they take away the man grant from him.
Yes.
Because he just go and call on radio shows.
Yeah.
But he just do it in a kind of way that I mean the PNM go get incensed too, because they say fire burn this wicked evil PNM. You understand? So I mean,
yeah. Well, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Because I remember many moons ago, in front of Flour Mill, when the head of the disabled people or the differently abled people made a stand based on discrimination, and how, of course, police officers, I mean, unceremoniously removed them. Unceremoniously. But go ahead.
Well,
yes.
That is the only man to stand up for the disabled people organization, George Daniel.
Yes.
And he was also a PNM, but he used to really stand up for the rights of the people before party. Understand?
Yes.
But this government is doing as they want and victimizing people. I hope that fella get back he granted, because I mean, the fella really is dependent on it. And I mean, for them to do that wickedness and victimize the man, I know somebody can take up the case because they put the run behind Chris.
Rowley and them say it's a privilege, and if their criteria for abuse is talking against the government, that is abuse as far as they are concerned, and entitle them to take it away because they are in control of our money. We who of course hired them to serve us, not in that way. But go ahead, my friend.
Well, I see the Minister of Education coming in when he was here to open this college.
Yes,
right?
Yes. That is a joke.
What kind of cutting ribbon and all kind of thing. But I see the MP for the area make a video on this thing, and he's showing where $10 million gone. Yeah, assuming $10 million gone. I see for myself, this man had the video out there with a set of rat droppings all over the place. The place has some kind of stinking set of furniture pile up. It have some desks. The thing eat away. I mean, what kind of, and some of the roof filthy and stink. And they say they're opening the school for everybody. But I hear, the school opening on a phase basis with Form 1 and 2 go and do orientation. And the entire school open on Wednesday. But I asking the minister, what kind of 2x4 things she give the people here? Because you open that place and it's supposed to be ready for all the children. And now you're saying That way you're freezing it off for a couple of days. Like what happened? You had to clean up the whole place before you do that, because they didn't know they had to do that before the school opened.
Nothing different,
you
my
cannot
friend. Let me just interject. We'll have a conversation. Nothing different to, of course, the Minister of Public Utilities, Gonzalez. Whole weekend, no water. He cut it off. He said, of course, the improvement. He went and visited, of course, the various pumps and the stations and so on. And he commended, of course, TNTEC and WASA for their efficaciousness and so on. And then to tell us that the reservoirs and them are not at the level that will provide us with the supply that we would have need based on his promise, consequential of the investment that was made to upgrade that whole weekend. So it's a similar pattern. That's the point I'm making. It's total incompetence, and of course looking for photo op in situations when they should be hanging their heads in shame, and of course heading for the gallows. Go ahead.
But you know, this same man you're talking about, he did for a good portion of years, and every year he same thing. He come like how the Minister of Finances run. Things ain't happening good. I thought things will be bad down the road. Same kind of foolish talk he coming with. The same kind of foolish talk the Minister of Finances did. So what happened? The rain don't fall in the right reservoir. It is fall all around everywhere else and
in
flood
fact,
up
that's
everywhere,
what they say.
but not around the reservoir.
They say that all that rain falling because, I mean, everybody would say, well, wait, like that storm, not one, not two, not three, not four. It's almost about five different storms. And they say that the rain falling not close to the reservoir or to full the reservoir, it falling everywhere else. That's what they say.
Yeah.
Boy, I say, well, my goodness.
I feel the reservoir have a leak, you know. Just like our water line is have a leak. The reservoir have a leak, and all the water leaking out and going underground.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if he go by the beach and say he could mop up the sea. That is how dotish these fellas are. But go ahead.
Boy, and they're always victimizing the public for everything that's going on. When they're supposed to be providing the goods and services to the public, you know, we always getting victimized. Everything is victimization on the public behalf.
Yes.
You go come with stupid talk until you have to cut back on water and this and the other, and people wasting. Look, now I've seen Terrence, he want to go after people now and charge them because he's saying the dengue on the upsurge, and now he's blaming all the homeowners. So he blaming all the flooding that taking place on where rivers and water courses block up, and all these stagnant water remaining there, and mosquito and all kind of thing living there.
And that is what would breed the most mosquitoes. Like,
yes,
like if it's going out of style, but yet still he has somebody to blame, you know. But don't be surprised when you realize that is an asinine statement, because they eventually go and sleep on it and it appears ideate, and then of course saying, well, but that is nonsense. I talk the anyhow. Let me say, well, all them quarry workers and thing, he's not going to blame them now and say that all of the depressions that they leave and sinks that they leave all over the place and it form lakes. That is what caused it. Don't be surprised.
Lennox,
yeah.
Wherever you see drain and thing full of water, he should go and charge the ministry responsible for that. Like Rohan Sinanan, charge he for that. Because they're responsible for cleaning the drain, and if it clock up and that mosquito in it, there you go charge he. But he should pay 100 times the amount, not like the $3,000 you want to charge people. But this man a joker.
I think not only charge them, but to get the hell out of office, because in the case of Sinanan, when of course the Manzanilla Road was inundated and washed away, he said the moon came too close to the earth. He said the moon came too close to the earth and caused that to happen. That is the level of arseness we're dealing with in this country, purported to be ministers and things. Go ahead.
That in last year, the last few months, and $12.5 million or $40 million to spend for that. Some man get rich off of that.
Yes.
Let's show some picture and sand on the road and pitch a little thing there, and he collect $12 million.
Because it's no bitumen in the country, so they excavate the very pitch and then they put it back. No fresh, no virgin material, and of course a couple $1 million. I mean, these fellas are thieves. They are con men. they are criminals, they are avarice, and that they are totally in a state of cognitive, intellectual, and cerebral decline. It's clear. But go ahead, my friend.
But Lennox, I don't know about people celebrating 62 years. I looking at the future what the next few years go bring. That's what you look at. Because
well, of course,
62
Rowley
years, they
will
have
not be
the
there.
full-
Rowley and the PNM will not be there, and I expect that we are going to be here to send them directly to the dustbin of political history in this country. People must only
Lennox, is the
just as the
damage
three
is
ships, people read about them. They
Lennox,
must be reading about the PNM.
is the damage you done do already, you can't correct that, Remember how much money they squander from this country, how much debt they put this country in. It's the future generation that trying to pay for that. How they gonna pay for that? Where the oil reserve, where the gas reserve, it drying up like the sun hitting the water and condensating it. You understand? We don't have much reserves again in this country, But the only thing we good at is crime. And we can't
Well,
we
once we
exporting it
have a
already to
change
different
in government, as will be the case, not expected, as will be the case, there is a philosophical position that societies, and is a fact, don't die, they evolve, they adapt and they adjust. So I expect that Kamala Prasad Bisesa and the UNC will certainly have the wherewithal, as we have seen between 2010 and 2015, to revive, resuscitate, and resurface Trinidad and Tobago to its pristine glory as it once had, save for the advent of Rowley and his evil PNM. Go ahead.
I wish that UNC government all the best because the amount of pressure they go get, Lennox. It ain't gonna be easy. You see all this government thing getting no pressure from no groups at all protesting and marching around Red House and all this other thing. You're going to see the first week when this government change hands, Tom, Dick, Jane, and Harry from down the road, they coming and going around the Red House and balling victimization, and we under pressure and all kind of things. We want money, all these sort of things. They ain't them all the time, They're like Bud Lights. You don't see them until the damage done, and they will come back out. You go see them. They coming from Red Army, Blue Army, whatever army they come from, and they go
I
to the
expect
protesting.
that, my friend. I expect that to be a scene that's happening in Tobago. So I expect that.
Yes.
But the fact is that you learn from experience, and therefore, since you expect that, you know what to do to them, especially reminding them what they did to the population when they were faced with a similar situation. The only problem with that situation that they were faced with is that they created it. They created the collapse of the economy. They create the hatred that the people have for government and for the prime minister and his team. They created the unacceptable, not just unemployment, but crime and criminality in the country. They themselves being, of course, part and parcel of that despicable
and
subterranean culture. Go ahead.
And they transfer it over to Tobago where 22, how much people dead there now.
They are responsible. They're responsible, total and absolute. You imagine Rowley reads the stage where he is saying that the criminals are the ones that are now responsible for the crime. I mean, what more asinine exemplification, and what more what I consider to be collapse of ideas and the abandonment of responsibility that you can envisage by that statement. I mean, it's clear. Get the hell out and done with that. You like money, but you don't want to work for it. All right, good. We're going to deal with you when the time comes. Go ahead, my friend.
You know what he just do there? He just give the criminals free reign to do as they want because he tell them all they do, all they want, right? All they go and victimize and extort,
because I could do nothing in spite of all of the monies and the trust repose in me and all what I say in 2015, 10-point plan notwithstanding. Ibitam is a special place with special problems that require special solutions. Well, boy, if Dr. Rowley, thank you, but no thanks. Them kind of solution you talking about or was talking about, then no thanks. Just to get the hell out of the office of Prime Minister. That's all you have to do. Otherwise, you will continue to get the belligerence of the people until you get the hell out. Yeah, go ahead.
The medical examination he gonna wait do, right? If they gonna examine his head too.
If what?
I said the medical examination he gone up in America to do. I wonder if they go examine his head.
Let me tell you something. I conclude that is a fake. That's a fake. Because if he was to go for and was supposed to miss independence, what it said it was urgent. But he stayed. So urgency gone out the window. And most people would think, well, look, happy riddance. If something should happen in his return over the Bocas or over the Gulf of Paria, so that we will see him no more, people will be even more happy.
They gave out any awards yesterday?
No, they have changed that arrangement to Republic Day. So on Republic Day, you will get the awards for Independence Day. Yes. So that is later down.
Some PNM people don't put in their hat already for to get draw there.
Oh yeah. You will see the list populated with persons who are undeserving, but because they are PNM, Rowley and they will give them. We saw that, of course, with the issuance of silk. The only reason why Fitzgerald Hines didn't get any was because his was so glaring and so pellucid and so conspicuous that it would have been an absolute travesty to have, of course, give him, having regard to his incompetence, impotence across the board, everywhere he would have gone. He would have demonstrated a pick-a-patch of incompetence. Yes, my friend. So that's it.
Gerald Hines was a senior counsel. That is a joke.
Well, of course, you would have watered. You not only watered down the handing out of silk, but you would have rendered it null and void and of no effect to give such a buffoon silk as Hines.
The only silk he should be getting is a Hannah silk fig. Right?
Silk fig, I agree with you. All of them. All right.
Have a good night, man.
Same to you. Of course, people, we have come to the end there. 24 minutes past the hour of 9 o'clock. Of course, we said that 9 o'clock we'll end. Of course, it's 24 minutes. Of course, I have a lot of work to do in preparation for tomorrow, and this week is a very hectic week for me. And let me just say that I wanted, of course, to focus on that emblem and to show how Rowley, Imsbert, Hines and they work and believe government. No, I shouldn't say believe how government. I should say their modus operandi as to how government should work. Clearly, because we have had enough of their nonsense to draw an inescapable conclusion. What they do, you would observe that if, for example, in the case of crime and criminality, or indeed the economy, or indeed, of course, agriculture, or indeed health, or indeed education, what they will do, they have a lot of analytical ability. They can analyze the situation based on what is contemporary, what is being addressed in the society. So they do that. So they can diagnostic. And then, of course, they come up with what I consider to be theoretical solutions. I say theoretical because in practice they fail. So therefore, they come up with theoretical solutions. And they are bombastic with that. They are vociferous with body language and so on. All what they could do, as I said earlier, Rowley wasn't beaten before the 2015 election, stating that it's a special place with special problems, and of course you have special solution, suggesting that he has the solutions. Yes, that's the kind of analysis that they will give. And then, of course, very philosophical. You will hear Hines saying that Not because you are poor, you will gravitate to crime. And therefore, the people who are so engaged, because the government would have done their part by providing, of course, these what I consider to be ephemeral, short-lived, and inadequate resources, policies, and programs, not well thought out, because they have no idea as to what the outcome should be in terms of of a citizen, and what a citizen should be, and how you should get there. What are the building blocks to achieving good citizen? And of course, if you probe them sufficiently, they would say a good citizen is one that everybody should know, one that is law-abiding, one that is contented, meaning that you don't put your hand where it can't reach, extremely productive, making a contribution to the society, and of course, have a brutal desire to see their country do well. Patriotism. That's the kind of talk. So, side by side with that, they will now unleash a plethora of measures with the usual hyperboles, big talk, in other words, and grandiloquence and body language. And as Rowley once said, it's nonsense when people say that when the PNM is in government, there is an exponential increase in murders. He says nonsense, nonsense. And of course, went on to give the prescriptive position of the government. And then the entire thing collapses, falls flat, until, of course, the cycle continues. They analyze, they could give you a beautiful rendition, a beautiful thesis as to what the situation is. And at times you feel that they are going completely berserk. A mental malady that, of course, is coined in the Latin expression non compos mentis. They have an unsound mind in English. Unsound mind. Because they roll out these initiatives verbally and give them a month, 2 months, etc. It collapses. And then they find new ones and the cycle continues. I think I could end by saying the classic example. Many may not, of course, direct their attention to it, but let me give you the classic one so you never forget the modus operandi of these nincompoops, these opportunistic political parasites, these fellas who have an elitist agenda, who believe that somehow somebody left the Trinidad and Tobago for them and they could just waltz into government by lies and innuendos, deceptions. Their prevarications, no limit, and they could do so with impunity, wouldn't get locked up. Well, this time around, Rowley has overdone it. Overdone it. And so blatant and so conspicuous and so probative in terms of evidence that I would conclude that a rookie coming out from the training college would easily be able to put a case together and charge Rowley for, and his ministers, for not only conspiracy, but for fraud, for deception, for misbehavior in public office, for abuse of their privileges and their offices, and the total reversal of their oath of office, in other words. That is what they have to be charged for. Rowley, in particular, must be singled out for treason. Treason. taking into account, of course, those emails that were false and he manufactured and concocted only to be where he is today. That has no what I consider to be. There can be no justification. Nobody should have any compunction for these people, for what they have done to us. And imagine those of us who are fairly capable of managing. Far less for those who are vulnerable. And I end by saying the classic case of that ability to analyze. And then, of course, it turns out at the end, in terms of the implementation of whatever prescriptive initiative that they would have projected to the people. I think some of you would know Naikwan. Yes, Naikwan. The man said that it is revolutionary, similar to that of his signing of the Dragon deal in Venezuela. Revolutionary. It will, of course, transform Trinidad and Tobago. Nowhere in this hemisphere you have, of course, the people turning gas into liquid, and, of course, environmentally friendly. All of those. Naikwan, yes, people. He didn't, of course, confess early that over 100 million US was, of course, expended, or should I say extracted, or should I say fraudulently taken from the Republic Bank, only because it is owned by the government of the country, coming out of the CLICO arrangement, and members of the government on the board of that particular bank. That is only how. And at the head of that scheme, Rowley Friend, well known to him, and I understand that he would have been part and parcel of that representative in the United States. Those lobbyists that caused Donald Trump to give him the telephone call I spoke to you about earlier. Bunch of criminals, conspirators. And after he gave all those glory talk and give Naikwan, of course, a special ministerial gas, the people in Point Lisa sketching the Aunt Nenen for gas, but ministerial gas was different to them, the Naikwan. And about 2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks after, the blasted thing blew up. The blasted thing blew up. And worse yet, maybe 2 weeks after that, 2 weeks. It could be more. Another part of the blasted facility blew up and killed a worker from Neil and Massey. That is the blight we are talking about. That is the level of incompetence across the board. I ain't talking about sandals yet. I ain't talking about the sea bridge. I ain't talking about the mashing up of Petrotrin and the mothballing of the oil refinery. I ain't talking about that yet. I ain't talking about, of course, conspiracy to set up Anand Ramlogan and Ramdeen through, of course, Vincent Nelson and Dr. Rowley's and the government direct involvement in that evil act, subversion of the course of criminal justice, as was the case with the fake oil and his friend A.V. Drilling. I ain't reached there yet. Understand what is happening here. This has been a rough, tough, wicked and evil ride that we were given by these clearly unprepared, incompetent, and asinine specimen. They should be after birth. They should be placenta. What the hell? How the hell they become prime minister and ministers? And PNM, you have a debt. You have a debt to the people of Trinidad and Tobago for foisting those rapscallions those miscreants, those dictatorial tendency, opportunistic political parasites who now, of course, occupy unmeritoriously the highest office in the land, bringing poignantly to the fore the biblical concept of evil upon evil in high places. Evil in high places, that is what that is. And we must accept that as a fact. People, we have come, of course, to the end of tonight's exercise. But before I do that, let me just give you the narrative associated, or the not the video, but the narrative associated with this particular video. I should use it that way. Listen to this.
Recent PM Rowley political caper through exploiting the national emblem and the Pan fraternity sinks a new low for PM Rowley, his desperation to stay out of jail, while having to reluctantly to call a general election by 2025, marks the crashing end to a devastation of poor governance, nepotism, cronyism, 1% fixation, and unbridled corruption. Rather than call the election Rowley chose diversion and continue dishonesty in the criminal enterprise called PNM. The recent PM Rowley political caper through exploiting the national emblem and the Pan fraternity sinks a new low for PM Rowley, his desperation to stay out of jail, while having to reluctantly call a general election by 2025, marks the crashing end to a devastation of poor governance, nepotism, cronyism, 1% fixation, and unbridled corruption. Rather than call the election Rowley chose diversion and continue dishonesty in the criminal enterprise called PNM. The recent PM Rowley political caper through exploiting the national emblem and the Pan fraternity.
I'll be down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh yeah, I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. Oh yeah, we singing birds told.
Yes, people, of course, we have come to the end of tonight's program. I'll see you tomorrow morning on the Ground Report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. We will return, of course, tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, where we'll continue, of course, and the standard 1 hour, but the norm, it appears, we go more than 1 hour. Most of the time, 2 hours. But see you then. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. Bye-bye. I trust that you enjoyed tonight's exercise.
I'm on my way. Anyone come to see me this day? Tell them I'll be gone for the day. I'll be down by the river, waiting for the good Lord to pass my way. Oh yeah, I'll be down by the river, singing songs of joy on this lovely day. Oh yeah. Ooh.
Now I'm on my way. Anyone come to see me this day, tell them I'll be gone for the day.